In this video, we get up close and personal to skilled craftsmen at a glass factory. We find another piece of heaven. We both go in the water. Stu tastes his first Guinness. And we discover death on a beach. But why? If you like our videos, please help to support us by clicking the subscribe button now and giving us a like, as it really makes a difference to us. Welcome to Getaway Geese. We are Stu and Jane, and with Harry, our Ford custom auto camper, we share our adventures. So join us in this Our Rough Guide series to campervanning in Ireland. So it's time for us to leave Hook Lighthouse, which we shared with you in our last episode. We've absolutely loved our time here, as it's such a magical place. Although we can't help but see potential trouble looming for overnight parking, because of the amount of visitors staying in the area at peak times and unfortunately not always respecting the area. This building is known as Loftus Hall, and we remember it from an episode in a Life's Too Short series in Ireland, and it's nice to see that the refurbishment has moved on a little since then. And today we're heading to Waterford for a Waterford Crystal Glass Factory tour, which is another tick on Stu's Island bucket list. However, the tour isn't booked in till this afternoon, so first we head to a place called New Ross, which is on the way, just for a quick park up and a cup of tea. We loved this mural, and we've seen quite a few already on this trip so far, and it's a great way to really brighten up a dreary end of a building and also to make statements. We're parked just outside the Dunbrody Famine Ship Experience. Well, they certainly seem to be enjoying themselves. If we hadn't have been booked in to the Crystal tour later, we would have definitely gone in here, as it looks well presented and tells a story around the terrible Great Famine and the Great Migration from Ireland. You can fade out the music, please. Thank you. And it's on to Waterford we go.
Okay, so we're coming up to the Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy Bridge. We seem to have a bit of a connection in our trips with American presidents. The last trip we went to south of Newcastle upon Tyne at Washington, where there was family connections to the first president, George Washington, and this has got links to John F. Kennedy, 3 generations before him. They lived in the New Ross area, and they travelled over in the Great Famine. They emigrated due to the Great Famine back then. So I believe the bridge is named after, is that correct, Rose Fitzgerald, who's his mother, I think. He was.
His mother, yeah.
Yeah.
And it says it was opened in January 2020.
So it's a fairly new bridge. It's obviously a brand new bridge,
and it became Ireland's longest bridge.
So I think, did he come over to visit, I think?
Yeah, he did. I think it's 1963, and it was about 5 months before he was assassinated.
Oh, right, okay, so he came over and visited here then, okay, and there's obviously strong connections between Ireland anyway and America, so that's just another connection.
Yeah, the lady we met at the lighthouse that was watching the whales, she said that the Americans had put a lot of money into the area.
Right.
I think there was quite a debate about the naming of the bridge, because I think people thought that it should have been named after someone local. Apparently there was a local chap who'd put a lot of money into the area. Well, the bridges seem to be coming thick and fast today, with this second bridge called the Thomas Francis Marr Bridge over the River Shore, and we completely miss our turn. It was built and opened to traffic on the 19th of October 2009, and amazingly it was 10 months ahead of schedule. Apparently a Viking settlement at Woodstown was discovered during the project and caused the original planned route to be changed.
Anyway, it's the bridge that's on the N25. So unless you're bypassing Waterford, don't go on it, because you'll pay a toll for...
Take the first exit now.
Toll for half a mile. Hello there, you alright?
Oh, Will we have to pay to come back as well?
No. Sorry. We'll just find my card? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
What did it say?
My registration number.
Oh, right. I can't help but wonder how much he would pay on the toll bridge. Having parked Harry up close by, we enter the Waterford Crystal Visitor Centre and book ourselves into the tour. And while we're waiting, we walk around the shop looking at some exquisite and high-end pieces that they have on display. Now, unfortunately, we didn't film it, but one gentleman picked up a high-end piece off the display cabinet worth €15,000. And we both held our breath as he held it up and inspected it like it was worth €15. This card took my eye, but Stu seemed to disappear fast. I think I know why at that price. Not quite in our trip budget. And it's time for the tour to begin.
A little bit about history here, history of Waterford, history of the Crystal Factory, up until the present day, and then we're going to go into the AV room.
The mould making is the start of the process. These are used to form consistent shapes during the forming of the glass. Wood is often used as it doesn't expand as much in the heat, but they also sometimes use cast iron on some of the larger production pieces. Here are examples of the large bowl moulds. We then move on to the next stage, where glass blowing and forming occurs.
So the microphone has decided to stop working, so I'm really sorry about that.
It's good to hear that he also has technical issues like I do. It was interesting to see they work as a team, and also how the most experienced in the team is doing the complex part of the process, but they bring apprentices through over many years to gain the experience. So today they're working on wine glasses, and as you can see, it's all manual, highly skilled work. The glass is heated up to a high temperature and then passed to the most experienced of the team to blow and start to create the goblet end. The crystal is worked at around 1400 degrees centigrade. The stem end is then formed. So this finished piece still has the top blanking on and will be removed later in the process. It's then put into a kiln at 400 degrees centigrade and raised to 650 before cooling overnight. The next stage is a quality check phase for defects before moving to the finishing process, where cutting and engraving occurs. Before cutting can occur, the crystal pieces are all manually marked up so each piece can be produced consistently. So this craftsman is marking up a wine glass based on templates that have been produced in the past. Here are some of the templates that are used. The engraving department puts the cuts onto the glass, and each piece can take some time to do all the cuts. The majority of pieces are engraved by hand, but they can do automation using the CNC type machines you see here. All these bespoke pieces are all done manually and created by many decades of experience by the craftsman. Sometimes pieces have frosting on. They do this by sandblasting the pieces.
The best is saved to last with this really special and outstanding 911 piece. It was commissioned by Waterford based on a smaller work created by Sean Egan. It's a tribute to Father Michael Judge, who was a chaplain to the New York City Fire Department. When the World Trade Center was hit, Father Michael Judge ran into the North Tower alongside the firemen he served. And not long after, unfortunately, he became the first recorded victim of the terrorist attacks. The piece reflects firemen carrying out Father Michael from the building. Stu plots a course to our next park up at Kilmurrin Beach. It's been a busy day and we're tired, so we quickly have a bite to eat and as soon as sleep in Harry without really looking at the area. The following morning we're greeted with these lovely blue skies, and as you can see we parked in these allocated campervan bays. Unfortunately we didn't realise last night that you shouldn't camp overnight here. The signs were at the far end of the parking area. So apologies to Ireland for that, and we will rectify it tonight. Today is going to be a beach day as we make the most of this autumn sun. And we set up our seats on the beach and simply soak in the location.
Morning. Beautiful morning as well. We came down from Waterford yesterday after the factory tour. We drove along the coast. We came to Kilmurrin Beach. Nobody here. We parked up actually in some campervan slots. I think there's been some problems in the past where, especially when it gets crowded, but there's nobody here to be honest. And so they put some campervan slots at the edges of the parking, not right on the front. So we adhered to that because that felt the right thing to do. We have moved this morning to the front because there's literally nobody here. We're the only one on the beach at the moment. So we're just going to spend the day here.
I test the water to see if I'll go in for a swim later, and I have to say it's pretty cold.
This is even the seagull's favourite place. Unfortunately I can't get the drone up, it's in a high risk area, just on the edge of it, otherwise I would. We'll be joined by a swimmer. Jane says it's too cold for her to get in.
A different breed of people in Ireland, we've come to the conclusion. I think some of them have got gills.
It looks like this Alsatian is going in for his daily paddle and absolutely loving it. And it looks like an excited new kid on the block wants to play. And I'm not sure if the Alsatian is more exerting his dominance here rather than playing. Stu hobbles around and decides to do a litter pick, as there's always something about that's either been washed up or left behind. Oh my gosh.
About 40 minutes of stuff I'm going to go and try and get it in there already been there.
You'll be pleased to know that I did go in for a swim, although it took me 20 minutes and some encouragement from the locals to actually get my shoulders under.
Oh, she's in. She's in.
Oh God, what are you doing? What's that? So we know that it's time to move?
Yeah. when he gets there, because we're in a hollow here, so it'll come over here and into us.
Ah, okay. Right, he says he's going in. I shouldn't laugh. Oh, I take my hat off to him. It is actually quite cold. It did take me about 20 minutes to get in. He's now walking sideways. Oh, he's thinking about it. Go on. Oh, he's in. Oh, he's in. Get back in. You've done the hard bit. Oh, come on. Oh, he looks like a drowned rat. You did the hard bit.
Got in.
You should have stayed in. Now he's walking around the beach like a man that's had a swim. Later in the day we decide to look at another beach a mile up the coast and to have a walk and maybe go for a drink at a pub and then come back here for a park up we spotted overlooking the bay. We pass this copper mine on the way, so that's somewhere we might need to explore tomorrow as we leave. We see this sign and it looks like they have a temporary environmental issue in this bay. The smell of seaweed is just fantastic, like in a good way.
So I just come across this, I think it's a rockfish, but I might be wrong, or a dogfish, I think. He's dead. Something's kind of captured him, or he's fell ill. So we've just come a little way up the coast to Bunmahon or Bunmahon. The few fish we're finding dead on the high tide, interestingly enough. We saw some bait fish. I've just come across another, I think, dogfish. That's the second dogfish I've seen. Whether something's, they're not being eaten anyway, so I'm not quite sure what's going on. I'm going to go for a pint. I'm going to try my first Guinness tonight. Never had Guinness in the UK, let alone in Ireland. So apparently Irish Guinness tastes different. I wouldn't know when I taste it, but I'll let you know if I enjoy it or not.
What you see here is me, disgusted and trying not to heave. As a dog walker who had bothered to pick up their dog poo and put it in a bag, then left it on the path, when there was a bin 20 metres away. This really does my head in, especially as Stu trod on it and the bag has split and it's now all over his shoes. Okay, that's my rant over, and maybe they dropped it by accident.
Okay, so this is turning into Death Beach at the moment. So just come across a dead, I presume that's a gannet.
Apparently this is not related to the dead fish, according to a local that we spoke to, and it's caused by avian bird flu. Stu found online that you can report it, so that's exactly what he did, and we assume this is what killed the bird we saw in episode 1 at St Helens Bay. We then moved up the coast just a mile, as the pub hadn't opened yet, and we came across Ballydouan Bay, which has some fantastic geology, with the rock formation quite precarious. You aren't allowed to stay the night, but actually we wouldn't have anyway because of the rocks.
There's a great big crack there.
So after all that death on the beach, Stu tries his first real Guinness and he loved it, but it's not for me. They're also doing a 0% Guinness, which he thought was really good too. So we'll leave this episode here, where we found a great park up west on a cliff top overlooking Kilmurrin Beach. This has been yet another great 48 hours, leaving us with even more fantastic memories, which Ireland seems to do effortlessly. So thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video then help us grow the channel by subscribing, liking and commenting. And we'll hopefully see you in the next episode of Our Travels in Harry.